Part 69. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 682. Money? Ha 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 ha, the black-faced woman laughed. Who needs money? The thin-voiced woman directly put the gun to Chen Ling's forehead, lowered her voice and said viciously, if you don't want to suffer, shut up. Chen Ling showed fear on her face. She shut up obediently. Good girl, the black-faced woman grinned at Chen Ling with satisfaction, stood up straight, and said happily, cooperate a little, it will be good for you. Chen Ling nodded desperately. Very weak, helpless, and timid. Cuff her other hand too, said the thin-voiced woman. Since the toy woke up early, it was not safe to only cuff one wrist. So the black-faced woman took out another handcuff and cuffed Chen Ling's left hand to the armrest of the wheelchair. Stop her mouth, in case she yells and disturbs the conversation of the master and his family, the thin-voiced woman said, and took out a clean silk scarf, pinched her jaw, and stuffed the scarf in, regardless of Chen Ling's struggle. After doing all this, the thin-voiced woman put the black gun in front of Chen Ling's face and shook it. Chen Ling's eyes were filled with tears, and she huddled in the wheelchair, not daring to move. The thin-voiced woman thought she had successfully frightened Chen Ling, and she put the gun away with satisfaction. But her two small eyes were still fixed on Chen Ling, in case she suddenly made any move. The black and strong woman continued to push the cart. Chen Ling curled up in the wheelchair, quickly recording the surrounding scenes. Every time the wheelchair passed a stone slab, it would make a clicking sound. The stone slab was a regular 60*120 cm rectangle. She counted the number of stone slabs in her mind, and she could calculate the length of the road on the island and estimate the area of the island. The birds flying by included three-toed kingfishers, which like to build nests on cliffs, and black magpie robins. Comagong persimmon trees, red sandalwood, Paphiopedilum, hairy jasmine. Although she might not use them, she still remembered everything she saw in her heart. This is her professionalism. No words along the way. The wheelchair was pushed along the stone slab road from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain. Based on the number and length of the stone slabs, Chen Ling roughly estimated that the area of the island was not particularly large, about the size of 5 football fields. In addition to the 5 mercenaries seen at the dock earlier, she encountered 4 more mercenaries along the way. All were fully armed. The dark-skinned woman and the thin woman seemed to know the island very well. Chen Ling glimpsed the hands of the dark-skinned woman who pushed the wheelchair. These were hands that often worked, with many veins on the back of her hands and several calluses on her palms. Her nails were neither long nor short, but the gaps between her nails were clean. Chen Ling guessed that the dark-skinned woman should be responsible for the daily life of the island, washing clothes, cooking, and cleaning. The status of the thin-voiced woman was higher than that of the dark-skinned woman. She could carry guns, and the mercenaries on the island were very respectful to her. Chen Ling guessed that the thin-voiced woman should be a steward of the island, managing both the hardware and software of the island. The island must have a small permanent population, so everyone has multiple duties. Among the mercenaries just seen along the way, only 3 had tan skin. This kind of tan was the color that could only be produced by the sun at the seaside. The 3 of them should be the permanent armed forces on the island. The faces and necks of the other few people had traces of sunburn. Therefore, Chen Ling inferred that they should have been temporarily transferred to ensure the safety of the bigwigs on the island. When receiving visitors, there should be bodyguards around, but not too many. A woman in charge of housework, a housekeeper, 8 mercenaries, and a big shot and his bodyguards. This is the opponent that Chen Ling will deal with next. After the last turn, the view suddenly opened up. What came into view was a small Western-style building, 2 floors in the front row, 3 floors in the back row, and beautifully decorated. There was a swimming pool in front of the door, with internal circulation, and the water was clear. There were parasols and lounge chairs for cooling off by the pool, and fruit cuts and drinks were placed on the outdoor table. The drinks were half drunk. Obviously, someone was drinking a drink here leisurely, but an uninvited guest came to disturb this leisure time. The two women did not stop, pushing the wheelchair along the edge of the swimming pool and walking towards the small Western-style building. Chen Ling looked through the transparent door and vaguely saw two people sitting on the sofa. "Master, we are back," the thin-voiced woman said, pushing open the door. The dark and strong woman pushed Chen Ling and walked in. There were two people sitting on the sofa, one wearing a loose blue bathrobe, sitting facing the door, the other wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, with his side face facing the door. The one wearing the blue bathrobe was none other than Angel, the president of the Freemasons. The other person turned his head after hearing the sound of the door opening. This man with gray hair and an old face was Nathaniel Hanna. First appearance in Chapter 493. He was a senior official of the United States, a staunch supporter and implementer of the Human Cleansing Plan, and also the one who wanted to buy the X-31 unit files at the Golden Island auction. He got the Spanish flu virus strain that once ravaged the world and did a lot of experiments. Nathaniel himself hated the yellow race very much. X-31 unit files discovered many genetic weaknesses of the yellow race. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 683. The moment she saw Nathaniel Hanna, Chen Ling felt happy. It turns out that the guest who came to visit the island by boat was Nathaniel. What does his appearance on this island mean? It means that biological experiments are nearby. The traffic boats anchored on the islands are lightweight and can run 40 nautical miles, 73 kilometers, at sea when fully fueled. In other words, as long as the island is the center and a circle is drawn with a radius of 73 kilometers, the island of the biological laboratory must be within the circle. Great, this is an unexpected gain. Before, she wanted to use interrogation methods to steal the location of the island from Angel. Chen Ling's interest in Nathaniel now exceeded Angel's. However, her eyes moved away from Nathaniel within a second. The most powerful person in this room is obviously the man sitting in the middle of the sofa, Angel. Chen Ling looked at her through tears. Oh, no, him. Angel no longer has any feminine characteristics. His current appearance is completely male. Angel was wearing a dark blue bathrobe with a loose belt, and you could see that he was only wearing a pair of swimming trunks. Her hair and bathrobe were both a little wet, and it looked like she had just swam not long ago. My hair looks even thinner because of the water. The cheeks are thin and slightly sunken, the tear troughs are deep, the dark circles are thick, the face is very pale and lacks blood, and there are a few sparse strands of beard around the lips. Some female-to-male transgender people do not grow beards. They choose to have beards surgically implanted for the sake of appearance. However, the implanted beard is easy to fall off, so after the beard falls off, it needs to be re-implanted. Maybe Angel has been busy recently and hasn't had time to replant. The sparse beard and hair, pale and thin face, and pale lips gave Angel a sickly and decadent temperament. The moment he met Chen Ling's eyes, one of his lips was slightly raised, and he smiled and greeted in English, "Hello, little bird." Chen Ling had a silk scarf stuffed in her mouth and couldn't speak. She could only look at Angel pleadingly with a pair of eyes full of tears. Chen Ling's eyes successfully pleased Angel. He frowned slightly, moved his gaze up to the woman with a sharp voice, and said with a critical tone, "Didn't I tell you to be gentler to our guest? Take the cloth out of her mouth." "But, what if she screams?" The woman with the high-pitched voice hesitated. "Connie," Angel reminded quietly. It turns out that the woman with the shrill voice is named Connie. Connie shuddered, and immediately leaned over to take out the silk scarf from Chen Ling's mouth, and warned Chen Ling with her eyes. After Chen Ling vomited several times, she choked and cried to Angel on the sofa, "I don't know you." She first spoke in Chinese, then realized that she should speak English, so she said the rest of the words in English, but her English was very poor, a stiff and poor accent that she acquired due to exam-oriented education. "I don't know who you are. Why are you arresting me?" Angel raised his finger to his lips. "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. You are my distinguished guest." Perhaps worried about Ling's limited English, Angel said to Connie, "Tell her that I am a fan of hers and really want to meet her, so I want to invite her to my island as a guest, but I am worried that the way will be a bit rude. Let her, she should relax and don't be nervous." Connie then translated it in Mandarin. After listening, Ling looked at Angel with suspicion. Angel shrugged innocently, with a very decent expression on his face. In order to reassure Ling, Angel added, "Unlock her handcuffs." Connie didn't waste any time and immediately took off both Ling's handcuffs. The doubtful look on Ling's face had mostly faded. "Dear Miss Chang, is there anything else I can help you with?" Angel asked very gentlemanly. Ling bit her lip, and then said softly with some embarrassment, "Well, I'm a little hungry." "Connie," Angel called, "please prepare some food for my guests." Connie bowed, "I understand, Master." "Now, you should feel relieved, right?" Angel said with a smile. Ling nodded, looking aggrieved. The tears that had been accumulating in his eyes also rolled out one after another at this moment of emotional relaxation. Her weak and helpless look at this moment was like a little flower swaying in the storm, trying hard not to be destroyed by the wind and rain. Everyone unanimously regarded Ling as a cute and harmless girl. Especially Angel, his chest was filled with two very complicated emotions. He wanted to destroy the little flower, but also wanted to protect the little flower from the wind and rain. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 684. This kind of emotion is magical. Angel couldn't help but say in a gentle tone like coaxing a child, "Okay, don't be afraid, go to dinner with my servant, I will accompany you in a while." Ling still had tears on her face, but she smiled and said in Mandarin, "No wonder my agent always reminds me to be careful of crazy fans. It seems that you are one too." Connie's face changed. Angel looked at Connie. What did she say? Connie didn't dare to translate it, she felt that this sentence would anger the master. But she didn't dare to hide it, and still translated it truthfully. To Connie's great surprise, the master was not angry, but looked very happy. Yes, you should listen to your agent more in the future." Angel had never been treated like this. Everyone was respectful to Angel. Acting like a spoiled child to Angel? No one had ever tried it. Ling stood up from the wheelchair, and then she tilted her body and fell to the ground. After all, she sat in the wheelchair for too long, and her legs were numb. Connie, who was closest to her, quickly supported her. In this lightning moment, Ling's hand, at an astonishing speed, took out a key from Connie's pocket and put it into her sleeve. When Ling stood up, her arm naturally passed through her coat pocket, and the key slipped down her sleeve and fell into her coat pocket without anyone noticing. "Then you have to come and accompany me later," Ling smiled at Angel. Angel nodded with a smile. Connie tried to make her smile more friendly, but it was counterproductive, like a witch who tricked the princess into eating a poisoned apple. Ling followed Connie to the glass door of the living room, and the dark and strong woman followed behind Ling. Angel watched Ling's back as she left, his eyes greedy. At this time, Nathaniel could no longer bear it. He frowned and said in a disgusted tone, "I suggest you be more cautious." Angel immediately put away the smile on his face and looked at Nathaniel coldly. "Who do you think you are talking to, Huh. Nathaniel pursed his lips and said nothing. Angel crossed his legs and said in a very disdainful tone, "You can sit here safely today, isn't it all because I take care of you and think you are still useful? You should pay more attention to your words and attitude, otherwise, I will consider whether to continue to give you alms. Nathaniel Hanna pursed his lips tightly, and the nasolabial folds on his cheeks were tight, looking extremely gloomy. Nathaniel is a hot-tempered person. And his bad temper has long been carved on his face by time. Every wrinkle on his face can fully prove that he is not a guy who is easy to mess with. Chen Ling pinched her legs, pretending that her legs were numb and not fully recovered, and moved slowly, listening with her ears erect. Angel insulted Nathaniel so mercilessly, could Nathaniel bear it? The glass door of the living room reflected Nathaniel's shadow on the sofa. Chen Ling could see his chest rising and falling obviously. "I overstepped the line." Nathaniel gritted his teeth and said, "I shouldn't interfere with your private life at will." He gave in. It seems that he really needs Angel. "Old Hannah," Angel sighed, "I don't want to give you any more chances. I've given you many chances. You disappoint me so much. The few viruses you studied and released didn't have particularly good effects in China." Nathaniel retorted, "The initial effect was still very good, but China is now different from the past. They have many excellent biological scientists. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 685. Nathaniel's words were very sincere. But Angel interrupted him mercilessly. "I don't want to hear any excuses. Any excuse is an excuse. I only know that I spent billions of dollars on you and your laboratory, but I didn't get what I wanted. And now, you come to me again to ask for money." Nathaniel defended himself. "Biochemical experiments are inherently expensive, and we have never stopped conducting experiments over the years. Our laboratory has conducted tens of thousands of experiments. I'm pretty sure we've found the best flu viruses. They do very little harm to white people and a lot of harm to yellow people. The prisoners who are our test subjects have fully demonstrated all this with experimental data. But the virus alone is not enough. We also need a vaccine. The reason why the expenses have increased recently is because we have thought of an excellent way to use the children of country F as test subjects. As long as we give them a little money, the greedy adults will bring the children to be used as test subjects for our vaccine product, but we're running out of money. Just when we're about to test out the best vaccine formula. The use of prison inmates for human experiments and the use of children in poor countries for experiments are indeed true. Please see what the author has to say. President, think about how much harm those moderates have done to you over the years. If the virus is researched and the best vaccine is found, it can be put into use immediately. At that time, no matter who you are, moderates, conservatives, or pacifists, they will all have no choice but to succumb to us, your feet. I implore you to continue to provide funding for laboratory operations. If the laboratory's funding is cut off and the water, electricity, and air circulation in the laboratory stop functioning, then all the viruses in the laboratory culture dishes will die, and the frozen inactivated virus vaccines will also lose their effectiveness. Victory is right in front of you. Giving up at this time will mean wasting all your previous efforts." Chen Ling was shocked. It turns out that their experiments have progressed to this point. She wanted to continue listening, but Connie opened the door to the living room and looked back at Chen Ling with an inquiring gaze. Chen Ling could no longer delay. Connie held the door for Chen Ling. The moment the door closed, Chen Ling heard Nathaniel say, "Please go to the experiment and see it again. I was wary of you before and hid the true results. The door is closed." Isolated their voices. Chen Ling followed Connie and the others to the restaurant. Outside the glass door on this side of the living room is a long corridor with many rooms on both sides of the corridor. Chen Ling paid attention to the internal structure of the house while sorting out the conversation he just heard between the two. Angel has been to the island where the laboratory is located. When Angel visited the laboratory, no matter what purpose Nathaniel had, he did not tell Angel the results of the experiment. Angel threatened to cut off the laboratory's funding sources. Only then did Nathaniel reveal the truth. The biological laboratory had made significant progress. Even though there was no experimental data from the X-31 force, they still found a virus that was more harmful to yellow people. He asked Angel to go to the laboratory again tomorrow. This time, he would show Angel the experimental results in order to win Angel's subsequent financial support. Connie and the strong black woman have very standard looks of local women from country F. They also heard the conversation between Angel and Nathaniel. Why were they indifferent? Don't they have any relatives? When they heard that the Unionist Society uses children from their own countries as vaccine test subjects, don't they feel anything at all? Connie stopped and said in Chinese, "The restaurant is here, Miss Chang." She even reached out and made a gesture of invitation. Angel showed kindness to Cheng Ling. Although Connie didn't understand, her attitude towards Cheng Ling immediately improved. Cheng Ling nodded and walked into the restaurant. One side of the restaurant is covered with floor-to-ceiling glass, and outside is the boundless blue sea, a great view. Cheng Ling walked to the window and looked at it for a while. The restaurant is built on the cliff of the island. Standing by the window, the view is not blocked at all, only the blue sea and sky are visible. After watching for a while, Cheng Ling sat down at the white marble dining table. The strong black woman went to cook, while Connie stood not far from the door of the restaurant, watching Cheng Ling. When Cheng Ling looked at her, she bared her teeth and showed an ugly smile to express friendliness, and her eyes were full of contempt for Cheng Ling. Connie had no idea that this girl she despised had unknowingly taken away her key. This key is the key to a Yamaha motorcycle speedboat. Just when Connie took out the silk scarf to gag Cheng Ling when she went up the mountain, when she took out the silk scarf, she accidentally took the key out of her pocket, and Cheng Ling caught a glimpse of it. Cheng Ling was very familiar with the trademark on the key because she once owned a Yamaha motorcycle speedboat of the same model. This kind of speedboat is very fast. The only disadvantage is that it is expensive. If there is an emergency and you need to evacuate from the island, having a motorboat is obviously very beneficial. Likewise, a key made of very strong steel is a tool that can do many things. Connie would not notice that the key was missing for a while. Even if she did, she would think it was lost accidentally, and she would never expect that it was stolen by Cheng Ling. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 686. The black and strong woman was very skillful. After a while, the kitchen was filled with fragrance. The fragrance stimulated Cheng Ling's salivary glands, and she couldn't help swallowing her saliva, and her eyes kept looking in the direction of the fragrance. When Cheng Ling felt that her legs were a little weak from hunger, the black and strong woman came out with a plate. Cheng Ling was very disappointed. That plate was super small. At most a dozen noodles, with a few large shrimps, mussels, squid rings and other seafood. This was a plate of fragrant Philippine seafood fried noodles. Even such a small plate was not enough for Cheng Ling to fill his teeth. The black and strong woman put the plate in front of Cheng Ling, and Connie took the tableware from the tableware rack and put it next to Cheng Ling. Just a plate of fried noodles. Cheng Ling frowned and stared at the small plate. "I have a big appetite, this is not enough. Didn't your master say he would treat me well? If he knew I was not full, he would definitely criticize you." Connie and the black and strong woman looked at each other. Who does this woman think she is? Does she really think of herself as the master's guest? But the master is indeed very gentle to her, which is very surprising. They dare not take risks. The master has always been unpredictable and cruel. What if the master really gets angry because of this? They only have one life. But if they give in, they will feel embarrassed, as if they are afraid of Cheng Ling. Connie is still quick-witted. I only heard Connie say to the black and strong woman, orally, please make some more food, make more, the master will feel hungry after talking about things. She is smart. They cook again, not because they are afraid of Chen Ling, but for the master. Orally, a dark and strong woman, glared at Chen Ling and walked to the kitchen reluctantly. Connie called her, orally, if there is any fried noodles left, bring them over. Orally came out of the kitchen soon, holding a bowl of fried rice with a peak on her hand. She had made a lot of fried noodles before, but only brought a little to Chen Ling, and she wanted to keep the rest for herself. She was hungry too. Chen Ling then happily picked up the fork, stabbed the fried noodles, and put them into her mouth. Hey, quite delicious. I didn't expect Orally to be such a good cook even though she was not a good person. Yes, Chen Ling thought, can ordinary people cook for the president of the Masons? Chen Ling was really hungry, and he put the fried noodles on the plate into his empty stomach in just a few bites, and then he took out a full plate from the bowl. Seeing Chen Ling eating happily, Connie sneered on the side. This girl was kidnapped thousands of miles away and brought to an unfamiliar island. Not only was she coaxed with a few words, but she also ate so much without hesitation. Big breasts, no brains, no lungs. As expected, everything in the show Survival is fake. It's a pity that she learned about this Chinese actress before she set out to catch Chen Ling, and prepared handcuffs for her. These worries are all unnecessary. Chen Ling, who was thinking about it and eating seriously, suddenly raised her head. Connie, what's your master's name? Connie. I'm speechless. She rolled her eyes imperceptibly and said impatiently, I can't answer you this question. Why? Chen Ling tilted her head and asked innocently, is it because you think your master's name is ugly? Connie. Do you want to kill me? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 687. Of course not, Connie quickly retorted, our master's name is the most beautiful name in the world. Then why can't you tell me? Chen Ling asked. Connie didn't know how to answer. While she was thinking, Angel's voice came from the corridor outside the kitchen. That's because Connie can't and doesn't dare call me by my first name. Before he finished speaking, Angel walked in. He changed his clothes and took off his swimming trunks and bathrobe. He changed into a Hawaiian-style floral shirt on his upper body, a pair of dark green shorts with a palm tree pattern on his lower body, and casual black flip-flops on his feet. With a very sunny smile on his face. Has your guest left? Chen Ling blinked her watery eyes like a cute deer and said happily in English, I feel lonely when I eat alone. Chen Ling's English is very jerky, but it doesn't give people the impression that she is ignorant at all. Instead, it makes people think that she is soft and cute. Angel's mood couldn't help but improve. He pulled out the chair opposite Chen Ling and sat down. Well, yes. He left, and now I can accompany you. Then can you tell me your name? Chen Ling raised his fork and asked with a smile. My name is. Angel paused. Somehow, facing an innocent girl like Chen Ling, he actually felt like it's bad to lie to her. So, the name Andrew got stuck in my throat and I couldn't say it out. He couldn't tell the real name. My name is Lucifer, Angela finally said. Lucifer, Chen Ling repeated, is he the bad angel with black wings? Angel nodded. No, Chen Ling put down his fork and said to Angel very seriously, I think your parents must not love you, why did they give you such a name? Angel's expression changed. Connie, who was standing behind her with her hands down, suddenly raised her head. She simply wanted to kneel down in front of this ignorant and fearless girl. This girl really didn't want her life. Just listen to Cheng Ling trying to explain in broken English, you are obviously like an angel. I can feel that your soul is very pure. You should not be called Lucifer. I think you should be called angel. Cheng Ling sat there, bathing in the sunshine. The light coated her whole body with a golden light, which gave her an extra divine temperament, just like the Virgin. Angel was stunned. Angel? That's his real name. Little did he know that this was a scene carefully designed by Cheng Ling, who was well versed in psychology. Every word she said, every movement, the angle of her face, ensuring that the sun would hit the right place to make her look pure and holy. After listening to Cheng Ling's words, Angel was deeply shocked. Everyone thinks that his birth was a mistake, including his parents. Even Angel himself thinks so. And his mother named him Angel not out of love for him. Instead, he hopes that Angel can become the guardian angel of his twin brother, the future successor of the Miller family and the next leader of the Freemasonry. No one had ever treated him so tenderly. Smiled at him and said, I think you are as pure as an angel. After Angel was born, his family sent him to the freezing cold zone and lived in a huge and lonely manor. His parents sent him many servants to take care of his food and daily life, cleaners to clean the house, gardeners to trim the gardens, tutors to teach him literacy and knowledge, and personal doctors to take care of his health. But everyone in the manor hated Angel very much. It's all because of Angel that they left the United States and came to this bitter and desolate northern snowfield, so deserted, so desolate, and so lonely. Far away from the bustle of America, far away from luxury and comfort. Everyone blamed Angel for everything they encountered. They used cold violence against Angel, pretending not to hear him, and minimizing communication with him. In the end, the servants discovered that the Miller family didn't care about Angel's life at all, so they intensified their efforts and laughed at him. Angel gave him scraps to eat, refused to give him hot baths, rarely changed his clothes, and was as harsh on him as possible in terms of daily life. Angel became increasingly gloomy. He began to think, why did he live such a miserable life? Later, he figured it out. All because of his twin brother, Andrew. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 688. Yes, it's all because of Andrew. Angel thought over and over again uncontrollably. What if Andrew had never been born? How great would it be if he were the only child of his parents? How wonderful it would be if Andrew died now. God may have heard his prayers and arranged for Andrew's death. Angel was initially unaware that Andrew was dead. All he knew was that his parents suddenly sent someone to take him home. Angel couldn't believe that Goddess of Luck would actually favor him. He can finally live with his parents and brothers. A happy life is waiting for him. On the way back, he was so happy that he couldn't help himself. He didn't understand why the person who picked him up had such a heavy and serious expression. He foolishly kept thanking God. He didn't know at the time that his painful life had just begun. Angel did not return directly to his home in the United States, but was sent to a private hospital. His majestic father and beautiful mother were waiting there. As soon as the mother saw Angel, she buried her face in the handkerchief and burst into tears. Seeing Angel's face, her heart broke for her son Andrew, who couldn't help her miserable life. Mother Angel didn't understand why his mother was crying. He opened his upper arms and wanted to step forward and hug his mother. But his father raised his cane and pressed it against Angel's shoulder, preventing him from moving forward. The father looked at Angel with disgust and said, "From today on, you are Andrew." Mother cried louder. Angel didn't understand. "But, I am Angel." Snapped. The father slapped Angel so hard that his ears buzzed and stars shot out of his eyes. He covered his face and looked at his father in confusion. "I say it again, from today on, you are Andrew," the father said coldly. Why? Angel wanted to ask but didn't dare. The father turned to a group of doctors in white coats standing aside and said, "Is the operating room ready? Arrange an operation for her as soon as possible." Operation? What surgery? Angel was scared. She is afraid of injections and scalpels. No one cared what Angel thought. It was a long surgery. After waking up, Angel knew that he was different. He didn't know exactly where. Since that operation, every time he urinates, he has to experience the pain of a sharp knife piercing his body. In the months that followed, Angel underwent more than a dozen surgeries, large and small. From a few words, Angel finally learned about Andrew's death, and also understood the true meaning of his father's words, "From today on, you are Andrew." God, oh, the God who loves mischief, put him in Andrew's place. Angel thought complicatedly. He didn't know if this was the ending he wanted. After being discharged from the hospital, Angel finally returned to his home. The home where father and mother are present. Angel moved into the room that originally belonged to Andrew, hung with countless medals and display cabinets filled with trophies. On Andrew's desk, there are photos of his father, mother, and Andrew. Everyone in the photo is smiling brightly. The white teeth they showed when they smiled stung Angel's eyes. "Andrew, you are dead." Angel thought. "Now, it's up to me to accept my parents' love." Angel threw the photo frame into the trash can, looked at the room full of medals and trophies, and thought, "If you can do it, I can do it too. If I do it, can I also get the love of my parents?" Therefore, Angel studied hard, trained with all his strength, and worked hard to improve himself. Angel didn't want much, a smile from his mother and a compliment from his father, that's all. However, no matter how hard he worked and how good his grades were, his mother never smiled at him, and his father never gave him the slightest bit of approval. All you get in exchange is comparison and criticism. "Are you a stupid pig?" my father scolded me coldly. "How many times do I have to tell you that when eating, your elbows cannot exceed the tabletop? You cannot spit out the food that comes into your mouth? Oh, God, you are simply a savage. Andrew, you have to smile, smile." Mother wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes with a handkerchief. "Oh my God, why are you always smiling? As if you are being bullied by us? You should thank us wholeheartedly, thank God, and always keep smiling. Oh my God, what a sunny and cheerful boy my Andrew is, woohoo. Andrew, your equestrian teacher said that your equestrian jumping is very bad, you can't do what Andrew could do at the age of 5, but you can't do it now." The father touched his forehead with his hand in disappointment. "God, it should be him, not my Andrew. Angel cannot like anything with warm colors, cannot like cats and dogs, cannot like beautiful flowers, cannot spend too long looking in the mirror and dressing up. Angel couldn't like anything that reminded her parents of a girl." Under the heavy pressure, Angel's mind was twisted. Andrew? He is a wretch. And I am the true chosen one. I hate this world. I hate everyone. I am in pain. So, I want to make everyone suffer. Even if he became the president of the Masons, everyone smiled at him and treated him with respect, but he knew that these smiles were just masks. No one really liked him. Until this moment. The girl sitting in front of him and smiling at him said she was like an angel. She was shining, but this shining was not dazzling. She was perfect, but this perfection did not make Angel painful. Should she be made into a wax figure? No, no. Angel decided to throw away all these tools in a while. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 689. Angel's psychological journey is completely written on his face. Chen Ling breathed a sigh of relief. What she faced was an extremely powerful enemy, just like dancing on a tightrope. Below the tightrope was an abyss. If you are not careful, you will fall into the abyss of eternal destruction. It has been a long time since she used psychological suggestion to achieve her goals. Has Angel received any professional psychological training? Chen-Ling was not sure. She just had the attitude of giving it a try, and as soon as she found something was not going well, she would stop immediately. Judging from the gentle and sad expression on Angel's face at this moment, she was sure that the hint was successful. N.A. Who is the best agent in the world? It must be my sister Ling. My sister Ling's sword is still young, oh yeah. Chen-Ling used self-entertainment to relieve his inner pressure. She waved her hand in front of Angel. Hello, what's wrong with you? Angel came to his senses and let out a long breath. He didn't know what happened to him today. He looked at Chen-Ling with a complicated expression and said softly, "You can call me Miller." Connie's eyes widened. The Miller family is a high-ranking aristocracy that is above all living beings. The master actually asked that lowly woman to call the master by his family name. This is a great honor. Miller Chen-Ling repeated, with gentle eyes and a smile, "This name is very nice, I like it very much." Angel breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't realize how much he longed for Chen-Ling's approval deep in his heart. He used to hate silly and sweet women the most. However, the woman in front of him is also silly and sweet, but he just can't hate her. Instead, he can't help but like her, hoping that she can recognize him. "You can also just call me Chen-Ling. My friends all call me that," Chen-Ling said. "Okay," Angel nodded, "from now on, I will call you Chen-Ling." "Connie, and what about the future? When the owner got the toys before, didn't they all get used up on the same day?" Orally, who was cooking in the kitchen, quickly cooked a few more dishes, including a Care Western-style chicken stew, a specialty of Country F, a fried spinach egg roll, a smoked salmon salad, and a mussel and tomato seafood soup. Orally turned on the range hood in the kitchen, completely unaware that the owner had also come to the restaurant. When she walked out with the dishes, she was surprised to find the master sitting opposite Chen-Ling, and then immediately greeted her respectfully, "Master, are you here too?" "Yeah," Angel said, "prepare a set of tableware for me too." Connie immediately took out a set of tableware from the sideboard and placed it for Angel. Orally placed the dishes one after another on the table. Chen-Ling politely served himself a lot of each dish, and then ate it deliciously. Angel originally just wanted to eat something casually with Chen-Ling, but now seeing how delicious Chen-Ling was eating, he couldn't help but have a strong appetite. So he lowered his head and started eating. But from time to time he looked up at the girl opposite. Chen-Ling's hair was spread over her shoulders, and her silky hair would slip from her shoulders from time to time. Chen-Ling, who was concentrating on eating, was disturbed by her hair. She frowned and brushed her hair to her shoulders. But before long, the hair will slip down again. "Is your hair in the way?" Angel couldn't help but ask. "Do you want to tie your hair up?" The acting is not in vain. Chen-Ling thought. She spread her hands and said, "I want to, but I don't have a headband." Angel turned sideways and said to Connie, who was standing beside her, "Go and find a hair tie for Miss Chang." Connie bowed, "Okay, master." Chen-Ling raised his hand, "Hey, wait, please find one that is thicker and stronger. I have a lot of hair and I can't tie it if it's too thin." Soon, Connie found a thick black rubber band for Chen-Ling. Chen-Ling tied up her hair and felt happy. New tool get square root. Rubber bands have many magical uses and can be regarded as one of the must-have weapons for contemporary girls. For example, if you are trapped in a car, you can put a rubber band on your finger and tie a hard object such as a key to one end, which can easily break the car glass. In Chen-Ling's hands, the rubber band was a slingshot with full lethality. Will not be suspected yet. With this, Chen-Ling felt a little more at ease. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 690. Thank you, Miller. You are not only gentle, but also very observant and caring. Chen Ling pointed to her tied hair. Angel, who was praised, was overjoyed. Chen Ling looked at Angel sitting opposite her with a beaming face, knowing that her first stage goal had been achieved. But she did not stop. She needed to subdue Angel for a short time, so that Angel would rely on her and trust her, if Angel could take her to Nathaniel's experimental island. Chen Ling stretched out her tentacles again. Huh, Chen Ling frowned at Angel, why don't you eat vegetables? Angel shrugged indifferently, because I hate eating vegetables. That won't work. Chen Ling picked up the public fork, forked out a lot of vegetable salad, and piled it on Angel's plate. Being picky about food will lead to lack of nutrition and make you ugly. I don't eat it, Angel said, pushing the plate aside. He hates all vegetables. The tentacles hit a wall. Chen Ling did not retract the tentacles, but changed the direction of the tentacles. Miller, I don't want you to get sick, so please eat a little bit, just a little bit, okay? Connie, who was watching from the side, snorted coldly, if she wants the master to eat vegetables, will the master eat them? Don't be too complacent, huh? Angel actually frowned and took a small bite of vegetables. Although it was just a small bite. But he really ate it? Chen Ling breathed a sigh of relief, it's done. Chen Ling asked Connie Angel's name because she heard the sound of Angel walking. When Angel replied that his name was Lucifer, Chen Ling pretended to say Angel's real name unintentionally. In this way, the door to Angel's memories was opened without anyone noticing. Angel did not disappoint Chen Ling. He gave her the privilege of calling him by his last name. In fact, it doesn't matter if it's not a last name, as long as it is a specific name code between the two of them. Close friends, besties, lovers, and relatives often give each other some specific titles. This title will make the two people closer. Then, Chen Ling affirmed him and praised him, but she would also make gentle but firm criticisms of his willful behavior. Here Chen Ling chose picky eating. Angel's misfortune mostly comes from the environment he grew up in. And his mother is the initiator. There is a wonderful and special emotional bond between a daughter and a mother. When Angel was a little girl, she longed for this kind of maternal love countless times. But Angel's mother never gave her any love she hoped for. However, Chen Ling gave Angel positive feedback similar to maternal love. A little bit of clever language guidance, a little bit of psychological suggestion, and a little bit of letting him go on the mental path he arranged, without him noticing. Miller, you are great, Chen Ling put down her fork and applauded Angel. Then Chen Ling looked around and saw the tissue paper on the table. She stood up, took a napkin from the tissue box, and then folded it carefully. A simple napkin swan appeared in Chen Ling's palm. Chen Ling held the swan's hand and stretched it towards Angel. Here Chen Ling said. Angel hesitated and took it, what is this? Chen Ling smiled like a white lotus in the world, and said, this is the Good Child Trophy, specially rewarded for good children. Angel's expression changed instantly. Trophy. This is a trophy. The first and only trophy in his life. Angel held the napkin swan solemnly, and the corners of his mouth kept rising. Andrew, did you see it? I have a trophy too. Although you have a whole room of trophies, no trophy can compare to this one in my hand. This is the Good Child Trophy. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 691. Later, Angel actually started eating vegetables seriously. He wants to prove that he deserves the good boy trophy. Chen Ling raised her lips and smiled. How could she just throw herself into a trap without making any preparations? It can be said that she understood Angel as fully as possible. Know yourself and your enemy and you will be victorious in any battle. Many people do not deeply understand the meaning of this sentence. The so-called confidant means clearly knowing one's own abilities. The so-called knowing the other party means to clearly understand the other party's abilities and ideas. How can we know each other? You must completely put yourself into the other person's role, wear his shoes, see the world with his eyes, and think with his thoughts. It is difficult for ordinary people to do it. But for Chen Ling, it was not difficult. Because she is a writer. If a writer wants to create a successful character, he must create a growth process of his own for the character. Whether you are writing about a child or an old man, you must outline the character's growth path step by step starting from the infancy. For example, write about an old man. You have to think, is his family poor or rich? What do his parents do? Was his childhood happy or painful? What is the attitude of the people around him towards him? Is his school life exciting? Does he have someone he likes? Will his love work out? Is he married? How is life after marriage? Is the child obedient? Will your career go smoothly when your children grow up? Is family life going well? After thinking about all this, when you write the role of old man, it will have flesh and blood and soul. Then the old man character you write will have flesh and blood and a soul. The writer can know how this old man should speak, and what kind of reaction he will make after meeting someone or something. You don't just guess about the character, you just observe the character and write down everything you observe. The same goes for Angel. Chen Ling collected all reliable information related to Angel and filled it into Angel's growth world. Then, close your eyes and put yourself into Angel's role. As a child, he was ostracized by servants and longed for the warmth of family. As a boy, he was punished by his parents and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't compare to the Andrew he once was. Chen Ling walked in the illusory Miller family house and saw the world through Angel's eyes. Angel saw the disappointment on his parents' faces, saw the contemptuous and disgusting expressions on his servants' faces, and saw his once perfect twin brother, Andrew, who was as perfect as a mythical prince. Angel saw Andrew's wall full of medals and display cabinets filled with trophies. My mother would come to the room every day to wipe these medals and trophies, shedding tears while wiping them. Angel also wants to have his own trophy. But Angel never got his own trophy. He is a transgender, how can he compete with those normal and healthy boys? When he was a child living in Iceland, his tutor did not educate him seriously at all. His foundation is very poor. And his long-term depressed mood limited his intelligence. Therefore, no matter whether it is sports, intelligence, or art, he is outstanding in nothing. The worse he is and the more others like to compare him with Andrew, the more desperate Angel will be. Vicious cycle. So, when Angel became the president of the Freemasonry one day, he immediately ordered his subordinates to smash all the medals and trophies that Andrew had won and mix them into the concrete. Then he built a lavish public toilet with a concrete floor mixed with trophy fragments. Angel has a strong trophy complex. He both hates trophies and craves them. Chen Ling predicted Angel's thoughts and actions. Therefore, she knew that Angel would be very happy to receive this trophy, even if it was a worthless napkin, he would treasure it well. Angel's heart and soul were agitated. His eyes were fixed on the white napkin swan for a long, long time. It took him a long time to realize that Chen Ling had put down his knife and fork at some point and looked at him. Only then did Angel realize his gaffe, put down his knife and fork, and wiped the corners of his mouth with a napkin. "Are you full?" Angel asked. "I'm very, very full." Chen Ling didn't lie. She didn't know when or what her next meal would be, so she had to fill herself up when she had the chance. "Your island is very beautiful. Can you accompany me for a walk?" Chen Ling asked. "It's an honor," Angel said. Angel stood up, but Chen Ling sat still. "What's wrong?" Angel asked with concern. "My clothes and shoes are not suitable for hiking." Chen Ling was wearing the cotton slippers provided in the cruise ship's room, and a long windbreaker jacket over a suspender skirt. "Do you have casual clothes here that are suitable for me to wear?" Chen Ling asked. Angel looked at Connie. Connie stepped forward obediently. "Yes, master, can you please Miss Chang come with me to change clothes? Then wait for me for a while." "I'll come back after changing my clothes," Chen Ling said. "Don't sit there when you're full. Go and stand by the window for a while and look at the scenery dash." Angel stood up obediently, walked to the window and looked out. Standing in front of the closet, Chen Ling breathed a sigh of relief. She had to make Angel give up his sexual fantasies about her.